So we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you for coming in person and on Zoom. And as I said, this will be recorded. So if you do talk to somebody who had trouble this morning logging onto the Zoom, we'll make sure it's accessible. Keep admitting, keep admitting. Yeah. It's hard to be. It's very good. I'm sweating now. I'm like, I'm getting that and log off. All right. I will task you, however, with the first, you were going to do a little shout out to some volunteers for us.
I just wanted to thank everyone who's been showing up on Tuesdays to help out with lunch duty and library, right? Those are the two spots, so that staff and faculty can do their big meeting. A few people who've been coming consistently, Amanda has helped out, and the three that have not missed a beat are Layla, Kirsten, and Sally. So special shout out to them because they have really just, committed to coming and helping out. So that's really nice.
And it's very helpful for us.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we do have somebody new who just got approved that signed up. So, so we do have a couple of new people that also will be jumping into that sign. Thank you very much. Before we get into the more interesting things, let's go ahead and get the meetings from February approved if we can. If I don't know if people have had a chance, hopefully with the email that we sent out ahead, you've had a chance to take a peek at the minutes from last month, and if I could get a motion to pass those to approve. So, Margaret, and can I get a second?
Johanna,
I'll tell you,
Johanna.
Okay, Joanne.
I-H-Y-D. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, all those in favor? Any opposed? Great. Business done. All right, quick report from our treasurer, Margaret.
Very quick, because we have not had any events since the last time we were gathered. One thing that we have talked about in the interim since we were last year is increasing our allocation to grad night. We've been talking with Rebecca, and it's a very expensive event, and it continues to become expensive each year. And we look back and we haven't increased our contribution sort of in recent history, and we have a little bit of cushion this year because we've had a very careful homecoming and other events. So we're going to put a little bit more money into grad night to help bring down the costs per person for that, to try to make it a little bit more equitable to do a little bit more on our part. But yeah, otherwise no real changes. Again, as always, if you have specific questions about how we deal with our budget and what we're finding, please let me know. I'm happy to share more details with you individually.
Thank you. Tam, so I'm going to go back to you to say a few words about volunteer involvement.
Yes, so if anyone is interested in helping out in any capacity, we have several different ways you can volunteer. For teachers, different activities, clubs and things that need help. And then we have a few events coming up if anyone's interested. The next kind of larger SA thing that we're putting on is the Spring Family Dinner. Have most of you been to the Spring Family Dinner?
I have not.
Okay.
So you can give me a brief.
Yeah, so it's really exciting. It's a dinner for everyone. It's hosted by, is it by FA? By the FA. And we also have a dance showcase, a middle school expo with projects in the in Zeskin, and then an art show and jazz band plays. So it's a really neat evening for people to just come together and, mingle and meet other people at the end of the year, but also, kind of see the hard work that the students put in throughout the year. And so what we need is volunteers to help set up for that, decorate tables. Someone would work with either Sage Dining here or working with an outside catering company to cater that meal and just make sure that it's a successful evening. It's really fun. I've done it the last couple of years. So if anyone needs help, I can help kind of guide or give some insight. We do have a whole room full of organized, decorations and decor and stuff. But yeah, it's really neat. I feel like since I've done it, it's kind of grown. I feel like I've seen more people and it's just a nice way to get it together.
When is the date?
Do we have the date?
May 8th. May 8th, right. And so if you're not prepared to volunteer, at least come, because it's free, it's for the whole school,
Yes.
middle school. So there's no reason to miss it, I mean, unless we got something else more important to do, but it is a fun little event.
If your child, I think my daughter has told me about this, I think she's dancing.
Yeah.
Did that hinder my ability to volunteer?
No,
No,
no, it's set so that the dinner starts at 5 and the dance performances start at 6.
Okay.
So if you're helping out, you're helping set up, but you need to run off and watch the performances. There
Yeah,
can be
it's
other
fine.
people that can help with looking to take down. Absolutely.
Okay,
Great, thank you.
I can help as well.
okay,
Me too.
okay. This is, I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Marcella.
Marcella, nice to meet you.
Thank you very much. And you'll still be able to eat and enjoy all the rest that's going on.
Yeah, it's a fun event, I like it. And then we are looking for, a few class reps still, correct?
Not
So-
sure exactly the grades yet,
We
but
don't know exactly which grades need an individual immediately, but, if anyone's interested, please let us know. If it seems like a lot to just do it on your own, you could be a co-rep. Sometimes a couple people take on the task and plan things for the class. It's not a huge commitment, but, we are looking for someone who can send out information that they get from here and then really kind of plan a beginning of the year and end of the year type social or something to get together with other parents and kids can get together. I've done it, it's kind of fun, get to know people in the class. Oh, yes.
We're multitasking today. You talk and do that.
Oh, this is crazy people thing. Okay,
So do you guys know if that's AP test week?
Which week?
Oh.
Oh, well, I will just say that it is something that was set by the school, so we didn't necessarily choose it with that.
Week it always is,
Okay,
Okay.
yeah. It's an early-ish event. Yeah, it's the same.
And it looks like someone on Zoom wanted to, volunteer. District.
all right. Well, and there'll be more information coming out about the spring family dinner. There'll be an actual invitation to go out. We try to collect a little bit of information on RSVPs, so we do know how much food to have and in the past, we've had people that didn't RSVP and then brought a whole family and, the food starts to run short. So we want to make sure that we know at least a good sense of who's coming, how many. So, a couple more things and then I'm gonna give it to you, Angela. We did hear comments in our recent survey that people wanted more notice on upcoming events. So we're just gonna hit you with a bunch of what's happening over the spring semester. And the first thing I want to do is the committee chair. So I'm going to hand it over to Angela, who's going to speak for the athletics department.
So we just finished up our winter season. Obviously, if you haven't heard, our youth basketball team won back state championships. So very exciting for them. We had one senior justice who was actually for most of the season, so we really have almost the entire team coming back next season. It's really exciting, and we had several players make our all region teams. 3 of our girls made honorable mention, and then Jackson got defensive player of the year, and Ben got offensive player of the year. Jackson is actually in a race right now for player of the week through AC Central, so I sent out that link to vote. The kids have actually figured out that you can vote more than once. Yeah. And so mostly because he's up against a kid from Elderview who has like 3 times the amount of kids that we do at our school.
And he was in second place when I voted.
He was in second, yeah, so. Yeah, first, I haven't checked those numbers. I'll just say right now. Mostly just to get us, some more love. We're a small school, so every bit of PR helps us.
Our winter, or our spring seasons are kicked off, spring tends to be our busiest time of the year, because we have 7 sports going on at the same time. So bigger teams, we have 3 middle school boys basketball teams and 2 middle school girls basketball teams. And we haven't had 2 girls basketball teams in a very, very long time, so we're excited to be able to split that A and B and get the kids as much money as possible. And then same with boys basketball, we split into 3, so we could have, 10 to 13 kids on a team instead of 20 on that B team, so they're all getting more playing time and continuing to build the program, so we can continue to do something like this in the future, so.
Jackson's at 44.94% and the other kid's at 45.1%.
And then our surveys finished up, and we made just over $3,600, so thank you everybody for participating in that. I should be doing the Disneyland tickets drawing either today or tomorrow, I just have to go through all the sheets, and then I cut out all the names and put them all in a hat, and we'll videotape, the pick. So everyone can see the wins, and so that's about it.
Is there anything else coming up for sports that's on the calendar? Like, we went over the calendar yesterday, and I'm like, is there anything like a athletic banquet or a?
We do a spring sports banquet, but I typically do that when somebody's getting on our wall. And so the way you get on the wall is that you play 3 sports for all 4 years. And we have no one on the wall this year. And so we'll continue that next year. And it really is just a chance for me to catch up with all of our varsity athletes that earn their letter, and do letterman's jackets and things like that. So we'll skip it this year, but we'll get back on next year, because Lauren and Kaylee are on track to be on the wall next year. So as soon as they.
Is that different than? Is that the athletic banquet?
Yeah, so we usually just do one athletic banquet in the spring. Sometimes individual sports do their own banquet, so boys basketball typically does one every year for the end of the season. And so they'll do that.
So each sport will have their own.
Yeah, so we've done it kind of along the way, but we won't do the big spring sports banquet.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Angela.
Someone said great work on athletics all around, Angie and all, which increased enrollment, need to make sure there are enough other teams to play for all the teams.
Working on it. Thank you.
Congratulations.
I know that Amanda is our staff appreciation chair, and I believe she wanted to say a few words. So Amanda, if you're on there, if you would like to go ahead and speak.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry I'm not there in person. I've come down with what everybody else has been sick with this week. And so I am looking for somebody who would like to help me with the staff appreciation Stock the Lounge event that'll happen the week of finals. That's for the spring finals. I'm going to be here for the first couple of days, the Thursday and Friday, but then I'm out of town Monday and Tuesday. So if there's somebody that would like to help out with that, that would be great. You can contact me. I can put my information in the chat if that works. And it's a fun event. The teachers are really, really appreciative. All the staff is super appreciative, and we get a lot of great donations. It would just basically be setting up the lounge in the morning and then the afternoon, making sure it looks good and clean and stocked again.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And do we have other committee chairs here that have something that they'd like to share?
It looked like, were you volunteering? I saw it.
Oh.
No, I struck a mid.
Volunteering today.
I've been contacted me the direct, I can do it. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
It's like being at an auction. Do we have any other committee chairs online that wanted to share anything? Okay, then I will share a couple of things for the theater department. Just a reminder that they're doing Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That's on April 24th, 25th, and 26th. And you
That's
can,
cool.
and you can buy tickets online right now through the store.
They're doing, some of the sets are gonna be animation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
different.
And then a quick note about band and orchestra. We saw that Dr. Blute received an additional donation to finish bringing the drum line into full operation, and she's going to be working towards performance and possible competition. So, but there's still opportunities in explorations for students who don't want to move towards competition, but just enjoy learning about the drum line. And I saw on the calendar that there is a band and orchestra concert scheduled for the beginning of May. I assume that that is, if it's in the calendar, I'm assuming it's set. That looks to be May 4th, just so watch for that.
Yeah, I think that's for plans to happen.
May 4th is a Sunday.
Yes, so what she was talking about doing is having a lunch in the same dining hall for all the parents and students to kind of collaborate and. Yeah, it is on a Sunday, and then do the concert.
Okay.
And she said she announced it at the beginning of the year, so she's like, hopefully it's on Sunday. But it sounds fun, like that people could come and get to know other band members and parents.
And for many parents, that's really the only day they can. so-
Exactly, yeah.
There's so many events in the evenings, especially in May. that-
Yeah. Yeah, and then we're leaving for, I say Disneyland, but for Anaheim, the kids on the 13th, so that's Thursday. They are, performing, I forget the name of the place where they performed, do you remember?
It's different this year.
Oh, it is different than
Yeah.
last year, so it's pretty exciting watching them, like they have to go and kind of warm up and go do their thing, and then, we get to go to Disneyland the day after and come back. And so the kids and a few parents have been working really hard to try to get some money for t-shirts, because last year we went to Disneyland and all these schools had these great bright shirts and like, oh, and here we are with no shirts. So we're excited, we're gonna do the Carolina blue with navy, they got like a little, outline of the Mickey head or whatever it's called, and it says band and orchestra, they're really cute. And so, yeah, so it's super exciting. But the kids all get really excited to, be out of school and take a trip and get on the bus. The bus is loud, like we've ridden the bus how many times, and it's, but it's fun.
Yeah, and there's 86 students going on.
Yeah.
What a lot.
This year they're performing at the Norwalk Miranda Adult School
Oh, okay, so that is different, yeah. So it's kind of exciting.
on Friday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I saw that Puneet also commented on the musical, that it is all school, so that's upper and middle school students are working on that.
Yeah, Mr. Cron's class is working on the digital part.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So, there will be more announcements about that too. I'm sure you'll see many notices in the newsletter. And, are there any class reps here that want to share anything that's happened recently or coming up in their grade? Anyone online that's a class rep that wants to share? All right,
Just in the upper. Did you want me to share about prom?
oh, yeah, sure, go ahead,
Yeah.
please, yes.
Prom is a month from today, April 5th. The prom committee is made up of juniors and 2 teacher advisors, Allison Cartwright and Stephen Crone, for the advisors this year. They've had a blast coming up with a theme, which is Old Hollywood.
That's cool.
Yeah, the prom is at Matana Canyon. And tickets are going on sale this week, and they're doing a sliding scale for tickets. So if students buy their tickets before the end of March, they're $55. If they wait till March 31st, they are $65, and if they wait till the door, they are $75.
Ouch.
We're encouraging students to buy their tickets. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they are starting to sell tickets in the science courtyard during lunch each day.
55?
55.
And who is a freshman through senior?
Freshmen through senior,
Can-
correct? Yep. If they want to bring a guest from another school, they do need to get a guest form filled out. And they can get those guest forms from Joyce in the office, and I have to approve those.
And they have to be a high school student.
High school student, yes, they.
Right?
Oh, yeah. And we usually get about 10 other students. We did it when.
Can I ask a question? Because I asked my son this and he was like, what's the dress code? Is it like suits? Are we talking full out tuxedos? We're new to the school, so.
I'm not sure if there's any tuxedos in prom, but I know that this group wants a fancy day.
And then all Hollywood, so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Up to your imagination.
He's a boy.
His imagination is like. Okay. So.
I have that, we all understand our kids.
But there's not a dress code, right? They don't wanna dress up, some don't, like my son wears a black t-shirt and black sweatpants, that is as fancy as he can. Okay, cool, thank you.
But he follows the school dress code.
Well, yeah, that's the official part, right?
Yes.
You know, they.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And I will share one thing that the sixth grade class reps asked me to share, that they are planning a sixth grade meetup at Fort Lowell Park with a target date of Sunday, April 6th. So watch for an email from the class reps. We've got a few other FA events as well as non-FA events. I think we've already talked about the spring family tour, so we probably don't need to talk about that again. Margaret, I'm gonna hand it over to you for some non-FA events to cover,
Non-FA.
parent discussion group and the parent series.
Great. So some of you, may have joined us, on a couple of our meetings already, but, we've had this year some parents who were interested in getting together for kind of book club / discussion / socializing, I guess. And we've had a couple of meetings so far where our topic has been, sort of kids and technology, social media, internet use, cell phones, things like that. We did a little bit of reading and a little bit of discussing. We will be meeting again. We don't yet have a date set for that. Thus far, the way we've been kind of organizing ourselves is we have an email list of people who want to get emails about it and who are definitely interested. So we're not sort of trying to flood everyone, but if you are interested and want to be on the email list, everyone can join it. And we set the date for the next meeting based on a deal from the people on that list. So the people who are sort of committed to being most involved are the ones who are setting when the next meeting will be, but anyone is welcome to be on that list if they want. I think it's been really fun so far. We've had, I would say like 10 to 12 folks who have come to each of the meetings and we've had some nice times. So hopefully that group will sort of continue to evolve itself. Yeah, is there anything else you want me to specifically
Once
say about
we
it, or?
get another meeting date, or when the group decides on a meeting
Yeah,
date,
so, right, so once the date is set, it is, published in the newsletter, and I think some people put on marquee, and, things like that, so it's definitely, publicized to everyone, not just the folks who get the email.
and open to anyone.
And anyone can come, exactly. So, yeah, so stay tuned for, the next meeting time announcement, or if you want to be on an email list, you could always email the FA email. And then I can add you, or, so you just let me know, I'm happy to add you. There's lots of folks on the email list too, so if anyone can chat you on if you want. Sort of relatedly, at least on the topic of kind of, internet and social media and cell phones, things like that. Jennifer Benedetti, and I think she's the lead person, right, for that series, has put together a series of some parent evenings, the first of which is tonight. And there's one next week, and then there's one in April. And I think this came out in the newsletter already, but I'm sure you'll be seeing more, reminders about it. And those topics also sort of overlap as it happens, kind of what the parent discussion group has been talking about. Tonight is a police detective who, I believe is the detective who dealt with the kind of issue you might recall that over winter break. There was kind of some kind of problematic messages that the school received through their contact system that were problematic enough that required sort of police involvement. And so this detective will be talking about kind of how kids can sometimes get into trouble by kind of making some bad choices online and kind of related topics. Next week, the parent night is for middle school parents, and it has to do with the program that is being piloted this year in middle school called Wit and Social, which is a curriculum kind of program that has to do with social media use and cell phone use and internet use. And I think Jennifer is leading that one, right? And then in April, the third one, the child will be speaking, those are parents in the community, will be speaking about kind of internet security, and I think their focus is kind of on, as I understand it, kind of like hardware, like things you can do to protect your internet at home or your kids' access to different things on the internet and things like that. So we just wanted to, promote those, remind everybody about those, encourage people to attend. I think it's a great series, and I love the idea of having a parent series, so I hope this is just the beginning of things to come.
And Margaret, can I say something? I'm
Yeah,
sorry for interrupting. So I'm part of that parent discussion group with the rate study, and I just want to make an announcement that it's open for all of us who have different views on how we view the technology and social media and our opinions, and I think it's been a really great space to be able to share each other's viewpoints. So it's been wonderful.
Yeah, that's a good
love
point.
it.
Thank
Yeah.
you. It's very, not everyone agrees. That is an excellent point.
But we're so good to each other.
Yes, it's a great discussion, and we definitely have kind of differing approaches, which is very nice to hear about. Yeah, so thanks for mentioning that. I think that's all.
So big reminder with the series tonight, 5:30 in the theater, right?
Yep.
And that's for upper school and middle school parents who are interested. Jill, you wanted to say something about this?
Yes, just a heads up for middle school parents, if you're wanting to get your kids on Minds Alive, the summer camp is filling up fast. We tried to get our daughter into Fab Lab and it's full already. And the cooking class, which we got her into, there were only 5 slots and she and her friend took 2 of them, so if you wanna sign up to it.
I want to take the cooking class.
Yeah.
We'll just lurk in the background.
I usually do. I find writing when everything's finished.
Yeah. Or also, I don't know how fast it's filling up too, but they need volunteers to work for it too.
Yeah, that email just came out for for student volunteers. Yeah.
Okay, great. And then lastly, just an item that we saw that is coming up this month. We saw that the Roots and Shoots Club is having a clothing swap on March 19th and 20th. And folks can bring clothing into the office or Ms. Carlson's classroom through the 18th. But if you have any questions about it, because that's about all I know, contact Ms. Carlson, Krista Carlson, for any other details you might want.
The students will get a ticket for each piece of clothing that they bring in to swap, and then they can use those tickets to swap for other clothes. And then anything that's left over is gonna get donated.
I'm sorry, what were the dates?
It's happening on the 19th and 20th, but they're asking that clothing come in by the 18th.
Thank you.
All right. And of course, anything that we've talked about, please feel free to email the fa@gregoryschool.org, because if it's not something that we're actually, involved in running, we will definitely find out who you need to talk to and get you the right person. So last thing, before I hand it over to Amy and then Allycyn. Sorry, I was like, you know what, my brain was like, do I call her Miss Jacobs or do I call her Allycyn? And I defaulted to first names today. I just wanted to talk about the annual fund match. Now, typically the FA doesn't talk to people about the annual fund as much as other folks at the school. But I wanted to remind people about an annual fund match that is available right now through the end of the school's fiscal year. And that is based solely on participation. So there are 2 different parts to the match. And the first part is for each grade level that can reach 100% participation. And by participation, that means go give Mary Babbitt $5 and you have participated. It doesn't matter how much, we're talking about participation level only. So for each grade that reaches 100% participation level, there's $1,250 match that will go into the annual fund. And if by some crazy chance, we could get every grade to get to 100%, there would be like $10,000 that goes to the annual fund. So it's well worth it. And I totally get it that not everybody can give, 4 or 5 figures. I sure as heck can't. But whatever level you can give at, if you can give anything at all, we're talking $5 or $10, don't discount the small amounts because that's what's counting towards participation. So don't think, oh, it doesn't matter if I do this, because it really does. So I should say.
Thank you, I was trying to interrupt you, I was gonna say, the other benefit of that is when we go out and look for grants, they really wanna know what our own community, at what level they participate, so. You know, when you can say that the community participates, they're not even asking for dollar amounts. How invested is the community in school? And so those help us, they ask for percentage of board participation, faculty and staff, and families. So that every piece of this really does matter in matching gifts from other places too.
Will there be, I know, like you said, the FA is not doing this, but do you think there'll be another at the curb type event? Cause I think those for giving small dollar amounts and getting people to donate that maybe don't think of it because they're busy. That at the curb thing, I think is, you know, really opens people's eyes and they're just like, open their wallet and like, oh, I got, like you said, right, I got a $5 bill.
Right.
I'll go get a cup of coffee.
Yeah, well, and I don't think there's another one scheduled for this year, is that correct?
We don't have any scheduled, but
But it's
we
good
did,
feedback to.
Yeah.
yeah, towards the end of the year, maybe something.
Yeah, that's a good idea at the end of the year.
And adding to that, it really helped me as I was doing the drop off, even though I didn't get out of the car, I would be like, oh, I still need to do this. When I get home, I'm not, and the links really helped, so it's a good reminder that even if you're not getting donations at the curb, then. It's like a visual. It's a visual.
People get online just because of that.
Because we,
So,
yeah, exactly.
And I would add to that, that maybe making a sign that briefly explains the 100 participation, because that makes, I think, a big difference. You know, knowing that even $5 or $10 add up to that 100 participation. So maybe something very brief that everybody's like, oh, okay, then, you know, I'll go and put my grain of salt.
There is something in the newsletter we continue.
Or maybe have the class reps, maybe you can write up a little, because I didn't realize that, so your description, I was like, that was
Yes.
perfect.
I'm actually gonna send basically what just came out of my mouth in an email to the class reps to share with
Yeah,
their
right.
Rebels families, so for folks who aren't here right now, hear it,
Yes.
so hopefully be on the receiving end there.
And I think just as a reminder too, that it's, I know you already said it, but like, we're just sort of the messenger.
Right.
But this is all good, very good feedback, I think, to give to our advancement committee and folks who are working on
Well,
that.
yeah,
And-
it's nice that you're here to hear.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, thank you very much. I am going to hand it over to Amy of the Very Little Voice. for each
There's
short.
it seems to be, I think that something in the Arizona air allergy wise. Because I lived here this season.
Bloom on history,
Yeah.
and they're saying anyone who's not native to Arizona is like dying.
No,
It's just one that go like that. I mean, that's just.
Like Puritan,
And I think Zyrtec everything, years I've done that, so it's not, I don't know, this is. Rare today. What this style of living is, but anyway, it's good to know that that's what it is.
Yeah.
A lot of what I was gonna say was just the series, the internet and safety and security series was something that's really important. So I hope people will show up tonight for that. We've had a very robust admission season, so some wonderful families that will welcome in next year. And so even though the regular batch from the fall and the spring are kind of done, doesn't mean that admissions is closed. At this point, it's kind of a rolling admission. So if you have family and friends who are still interested in the Gregory School for next year, you know, please make sure that you tell them to get in touch with us. Jennifer Gold will be the new admissions director. She comes to us from St. Michael's, and she's been there for some time. Some of you may know her. She's going to be a great addition to that office. Has a lot of background knowledge, and James Foreman, you know, he also comes from an admissions background. So it's going to be, you know, we'll have a double whammy next year of their expertise. So that's going to be really helpful. Speaking of James, he'll be here later this week. So there's the meet and greet. that is Thursday afternoon. We hope that you'll show up. It'll be on the front, the
That's
front lawn.
tomorrow, sorry.
Yes, that is
Like that
tomorrow.
Thursday is tomorrow.
Yes, it's like he's there for a couple of days, he and his wife, so, you should get a chance to meet her too. Her name's Jennifer. So,
Just only get people, Joe.
that's right, they have to be named Jennifer. So, be related to a Jennifer or something, so they'll be here in your house Sunday. So that's part of the mission, they're gonna be here for a few days and do the weekend. I think this is his spring break, actually, school. So anyway, so that's, exciting to be able to have them here for a couple of days. So if you are out there, make sure you wait. Students and families are invited, so 3:30, Thursday, tomorrow. So, yeah.
Great.
That's it.
Thank you. Well, last but certainly not least, we have our guest speaker, Allycyn Jacobs, who's going to be talking to us about electives plus.
Electives plus, yeah. So
Here we go.
it's a
Did you share?
busy time of
Yes.
year. And I'm just gonna have a caveat of that these aren't even done yet. So our office is busy, thinking about course admissions and numbers of seats that we need in classrooms, so that equals numbers of classes that we need, which is numbers of electives that we need, and it's sort of in flux. And those of you who've been here a long time know that sometimes things even get added in the summer. So I have a couple screens that'll say to be announced, because we are still working on electives that are being proposed. I'm meeting with social sciences this afternoon and solidify some things. So it's a busy time of year. We hope that our curriculum guide is gonna be done by next week so that we can be proofing it and be ready for the students the week after. So if you go to the next slide. Our scheduling timeline with the students is the week before spring break. Each class will have meetings with Ms. Martin and either Mr. Benedetti or I to learn about course requests for next year. And at that meeting, if they have a signed contract, they receive an official course request form. If they don't have a signed contract, they still receive a course request form, but it's just a sample because they can't sign up for courses yet unless their contract is signed. And then the week of March 31st, which is the week we get back from spring break, that's when their course requests are going to be due. And this information will go out to everybody. We're gonna have them, will be available for questions, of course. We're gonna have them due by April 3rd, and there's always instructions on the course request form for how to enter their courses online too. So it's a whole process, but we go through it with the students, and then hopefully students go through it with you when they come. Okay, next slide. So just so you know, when you look at the course guide, and this is, we're gonna do some clicking, Tanis.
Okay.
It's important to look at different pieces of each course. And this is where sometimes the students miss things. So if you click once, please make sure to look at the grade level that the course is offered to. Some of our electives that we offered this year, maybe to multiple grade levels, we've pared down a little bit. So for instance, in the science area, this year we offered an astronomy class to 9th through 10th or 9th through 12th grade. Next year, the astronomy class is only offered for 9th and 10th graders. So that's an important piece to look at because students obviously can't sign up for classes they're not eligible for. Okay, click again. Please make sure to look at how long the course is offered. This is another place where students get caught because a lot of our courses are, especially in the upper school, are only semester-long courses. So that means they need another semester-long course so that they don't have a blank in their schedule. And then last click on this one. Look at the prerequisites. So there are some new courses. This is one of them. It's called Intro to Studio Art Practice. And it's a readjustment of the art courses. And so there's specific prerequisites that students might need for the courses they're applying for. Now, if in a perfect system, our school won't let your students get into a course that they don't have the prereq for, but that always, it not always works. So sometimes they'll offer them a course and we'll say later, wait a second, you didn't have the prereq for this. So we double check one thing. Okay, Tanis. Okay, middle school's a little bit easier. You know, there's not as many electives offered in middle school, and as you know, as 5th and 6th graders take less elective choices than 7th and 8th graders. We don't have any new electives in the middle school this year, but middle school publications, which has been offered as a year-long course in the past, and then this year was only a semester course, is going back to a full year course. And the middle school publications class covers newsletter and yearbook. So if your students are interested in doing yearbook at all, it's going back into an actual full year course.
And who's the instructor for that? Oh, we don't know
To
yet.
be determined.
Okay.
So, but yeah, you know, I can tell you didn't start here today and it's gonna change in July, so I don't want to commit to any of that.
Sorry, teachers are not part of this presentation.
Yeah. I mean, and it's tricky, right? Because we have teachers who propose courses because of their passions, and then sometimes that has to get flipped around at the end. And as always, and I'll say this again with upper school, additional foreign language classes can be electives. So if your child is interested in multiple foreign language classes, that's a great way to do that, start it early. So they could, even if they're, you know, taking Spanish, but they say, wow, I really want to take Latin too, that could be their elective choice instead of an art choice or band or orchestra, things like that. I listed the 0-hour electives for middle school as chess, farmyard, and garden to table. There's usually a beginning band in there also. It matters year to year where the students fall. Okay, go ahead and click. Because the upper school is a little more complicated. So I organize these slides into what the core classes are for upper school and then their elective choices. So English is a pretty simple one because everybody needs to take English every year. We do have, for those of you who aren't upper school parents, English is organized into a freshman English 1 class, a sophomore English 2 class, and then juniors and seniors actually choose from semester-long English seminars. And we have several new seminars being proposed this year. It might adjust, like last year we had a seminar not go because we didn't have enough people ask for it. So the ones that are started, Lost in the City, which the full title is Lost in the City, Understanding the Urban in Literature. The Song of Alexander, which is about Alexander the Great. Wired Minds, which is Wired Minds Being Human in the Age of Screens, which talks about how technology interacts with identity. And then a craft of poetry course, which is just coming together right now. So those are the new offerings. There might be one more, but we do it plus on that one. But for electives in English, there's definitely the journalism course, which is a wonderful elective to take. And then there's a creative writing, the art of the short story, which is almost more of a general creative writing course. And then creative writing literary ekphrasis, which is a semester-long course that focuses really on art and literature together.
And are these semester courses for juniors and seniors, or are they electives?
So journalism is electives for anyone, and journalism is a full year course. Creative writing is also for freshmen through seniors. Art of the short story, literary ekphrasis. Actually, the English one would probably, I think, might be.
My question is it an English course or an
Oh, the electives. So the ones that are listed under core classes are English courses. The ones that are listed under electives are elective courses. Yeah, sorry. Thank you. Okay, go to the next slide.
This sounds like you want to be a student.
Yeah. Oh, I have to emphasize about this whole thing. Yes.
Still cheated.
Yes. So science we really only have 2 core classes in science. We require, we prefer for 9th graders to take biology and 10th graders to take chemistry. That was based on state requirements that actually have gone away, but we're keeping them in our system requirements. And then we have a lot of returning electives, including our physics classes, human and A&P, AP Bio, and Chem, that whole list on the left are returning electives. And then I listed the ones on the right as newer electives. We created these last year. They're semester-long science electives, really focusing on surveys of those different topic areas and showing students what other sciences are out there. They've been very popular. The one that was not in our schedule this year was environmental science, but we are putting it back into the curriculum guide for next year to see if we have a following for that. But I mean, this year we had enough to run 2 sections of marine biology, 2 sections of astronomy. We have a very large section of genetics. So they've been very nice way for students to experience science, especially those students who aren't necessarily interested in an AP course. So it gives them a lot more choices.
Are the dual credit classes, are they notated?
Yes, they'll be notated. So our advanced biology is dual credit. This year it was taught alongside with the AP biology.
Okay.
So dual credit course, the students automatically get, if they pass the course, those 3 credits at college level. The AP Bio dual credit is done through Pima Community College. And Pima right now is freezing on any new dual credit courses, so we aren't able to add any this year.
Okay.
Can you say which of the science courses are Latin? Right, because they have to take 3 labs, is that right, over the?
Yes, how
course?
about if I say the which are not labs?
Okay.
The computer science courses are not considered labs.
Okay,
So any computer science course, the AP computer science or the technology and innovation are not considered labs. Everything else is considered a lab.
Intro to engineering, then.
Intro to engineering is considered a lab.
Okay.
It's also, sorry, it's also a dual credit course, intro to engineering. It's our one, it's a dual credit through U of A.
And then if we have a question on technology, innovation, design and build, that will be in the course.
It's all in the first descriptions, yeah. And some of those classes have several levels, like technology and innovation. We've had students take that whole really project-based course, so they're able to take it as long as it fits in their schedule, they have that. Open.
That's fast.
Next year. Yeah, it's done with that. Right, okay, yes. Social science is a little more complicated, and this is where I'm working with the team today. We do have those core classes, so World Civ is taken in 9th grade and US History in 10th grade. This year's US History is a dual credit class. The regular US History class, the AP class is an AP US History class. Starting with next year's freshman class, we're going to require them to take a 1-semester government course in their 11th or 12th grade year. But we don't want to start it with classes that are already running because we didn't learn about that. So, but it is, it's a state requirement for other schools to take actually government and econ. We decided that government is a really important piece of us educating our students. So they get, their civics class in 8th grade, and then they'll get at least a semester of government in upper school. If they choose to take AP government, that covers that. And so we do have the electives of, AP government, micro, macro, economics, psychology, those are all year long. Micro, macro, psychology, a lot of students take those year long. And then we've had our social science electives. Some of these ran this year, some of them didn't. The Middle East history did not run this year, but we are putting it back in the curriculum guide next year. And then there's a couple exciting electives coming down the pipe, but I don't want to put those on there yet until they're officially approved. But we have some really great, just exciting ideas from our social sciences team and ideas based on what students are asking us to teach.
and those are semester courses on the?
So on the right side, the semester, they're all semester except for the entrepreneurship is a year-long course.
Oh, right.
The elements of entrepreneurship is the beginning course, which is offered to 9th and 10th graders. The actual Entrepreneurship Institute course is offered to 11th and 12th graders, and that's definitely something to focus on when it comes to prerequisites, because students have to apply to be in that course, and actually the deadline has already passed for next year unless they're a new student. But they have to write a letter, they have to talk to Mr. Young and Mr. Connor to get into that course. And they actually said they have a huge amount. It could end up as 2 courses next year. Wow. Yeah, it's exciting. Okay, go ahead, Dan. Okay, we have fine arts, and we have some hiding under the little tab under there, but we have our normal music offerings. You can put it up on top. Yeah.
Which are the ones that the 5th graders choose between?
How do I drag this?
Sorry.
Can you on the screen sharing
How
part?
about I know?
Can you click on the green part to drag it?
That's okay.
It's part of that same, and then just drag it up.
Sorry.
Right, that's okay. I know. 5th graders can take beginning band. Thinking about orchestra. They do take, they can choose, I have to look back at the 5th grade.
Dance drama. Is
there
there fine art or is it all performing kind of art?
No, they can choose dance.
They have that trimester thing, right?
It's not trimesters anymore, it's electives. We did get rid of the trimesters, so it's art, dance, and choir and drama. Okay, so for upper school fine arts, we haven't added anything new. There's a couple things on the list that we didn't run this year, especially under the digital art offerings. Mr. Kroner, digital art teacher, is wonderful about kind of combining levels of students together so that he is able to offer as much as he can. So for instance, digital design class, an intermediate class might also have advanced students in it. Last year, he tried to run a history of animation class, but that class didn't run because we didn't have enough people interested. So we're putting it back in to see if we can get some interest in it this year. The digital animation, digital painting also have different levels, beginning, intermediate, advanced levels. Trying to think if there's anything different. Oh, the art offerings are changing this year. So it used to be that there was a Studio Art 1 class, a Studio Art 2 class, an advanced Studio Art class. But what Ms. Carlson is doing is really splitting it into different skills. So she has a painting and drawing class, which is really that intro to art class, a sculpture and ceramics, which is a different intro to art class, or a fiber and textiles, which is a different intro to art class. So you take either one of those and then go into an intro to studio art practice as your second year. So it's just a reorganization of how she's teaching the art. Or if your student's interested, they could take painting and drawing for a year, next year take sculpture and ceramics, and then take fiber and textiles. So just different art forms.
Can you remind me what the graduation requirements are for art classes?
1 credit in fine arts.
Okay.
Yeah. Under where it says yearbook, we also have a photography class. So that's the one that's missing.
The hidden one.
The hidden photography class. Yeah,
Is drumline staying as a private elective or is that going to be?
say that again.
Drumline?
Drumline is staying as a private. Yeah. Okay, one more click. Fine arts continues. The dance classes can either be used in the upper school as a fine arts credit or a PE credit. So we ask students when they take dance, which they want to use that for. Upper school students are required to do 1 year of PE. So that can be done in many different ways. They can take 1 year regular upper school PE class, but we also have a semester long of basketball, semester long of volleyball, weight training, physical conditioning for athletes, yoga for athletes. They can take their PE credit. And I think there's one more. Foreign languages, we do require in the upper school to take a foreign language. 2 of those years need to be taken in the upper school. So for instance, if your child takes Spanish 1A and 1B as full years in the middle school, that counts as their Spanish 1 class, and they would move on to Spanish 2 and then 3 in the upper school. But additional languages, just like the middle school, can be electives. So we've had students in the past take 2 or 3 languages in the upper school and use those as all of their elective credits. And then we do have some classes that we call enrichment because they don't really fit to other places. One of them is financial literacy. That one's coming back. We skipped a year. The financial literacy class is going to be offered as a semester-long course. It does not meet the requirements of a math course. The board of regents will not allow us to count it as a math course. So it is just an enrichment elective for students who want to take it. Another one that's amazing is our intro to film class. That's a year-long elective. And then upper school students can also join Farm Yard and Garden. We do have a couple every year. Those are offered during 0 hour.
Is financial literacy a semester or a year?
It's gonna be a semester, and I'm pretty sure he's offering it to just 11th and 12th graders.
Mr. Reyes.
Mr. Reyes?
Well,
I think yeah.
In the past, Mr. Reyes is, yeah. So in the past, yes, past Mr. Reyes. Question?
What about the math classes?
I didn't list math on there because they're not really effective. So I didn't go through, I was really focused.
I don't know what she's on the take class on my.
So the one thing that's really helpful in course guide with math is there is a
Yes, the flow chart.
yeah, there is a flow chart that really walks through where the math can go. And we have had students, especially upper level math students, take like AP Calc and AP Stats at the same time. So we can count as an elective credit. Really taking class. Yeah.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
One of the things that I remember coming up in some discussion was Mr. Ma's Tai Chi and Chinese wellness class. Is that something that's not being offered next year?
We've tried offering it for a couple years and it just hasn't had enough to make the class go. So he's really focusing on that with the exploration.
Okay.
Oh, and if there are parents who are interested in that, is there a way to bring that to attention?
As a class for students,
Return it to the.
as returning.
Okay. And are there any changes in language offerings next year, or do we have the same that we have this year?
Same language offering.
Okay.
Is there any discussion about the future of the farm, if Mr. Freshman is leaving, like? We have a teacher. Right?
It's
Definitely, yeah, you know, one of the things we really focus on is continuing our programs, whether the teacher's there or not. So, I mean, we're losing a few teachers this year, those programs are.
Well, Mr. Clashman is like, he's just a force over there, right? But is Mr. Boulay gonna help out with some, I mean, my kids are in advisory, they came home, so he was equally excited, is what I'm saying. He's a force as well, and so I think the kids will, it'll just.
Yeah, we're
well.
looking at
Yeah.
master replacement.
And Kelly.
Yeah.
I'm sure for both training, yeah, various things like that.
I'm new to it. Not adding that hat to it. Any other questions?
Do you, I have like a, I don't know, it's sort of a process question, but like, I guess I'm just wondering, so this is very helpful, I love it, and I have like lots of things, I'm like, oh, like, I should tell, you know, sorry about that, and not expect that, but I guess I'm wondering, like, is this something that gets talked about, I don't know, like an advisory, or like, how, you know what I mean, like, I know it's in the catalog, and I know that you guys have the meetings, and you give them the form and stuff, but like, are there venues for sort of really kind of getting the kids to know like all the possibilities
And think about them.
Yeah,
Right, but that's what we,
no, like,
that's what we focus on during that course meeting.
Okay.
That's why we do one grade level at a time. So we can really say to the freshmen, this is what your day can look like. This is what your requirements are. These are the classes that you can take. This is how you look at that. Ms. Martin has come up with some almost like cheat sheets for each grade level for the upper school too. So the freshmen are gonna have an extra 2-page that just lists the courses that just freshmen can take that they're qualified for, and then sophomore. Because it gets more complicated.
Right.
And then we're always around for questions.
Yeah.
I know, I mean, I mean, I don't mean to imply that you're not, I just feel like I know for my kids at least, I can, you know, there's a difference between me saying like, go to Ms. Jacobs and ask her about. Yeah. Versus like, this is the world that's available to you, like, what you're interested in, and like, do you wanna pursue this, do you want, you know what I mean, like, I feel like those are two different experiences.
And to touch on what she's saying, thank you for doing this, because now I can go home and, you know,
Right.
pretend that I know what I'm talking about. And try and say, oh, did you think about this? Did you think about this? But just to what Margaret's saying, it's like talking to a wall sometimes that I don't know what, you know, that I don't know.
nodding.
Yeah. So thank you for asking that question, because I think a lot of us can resonate with what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
The upper school students also will get a copy of their sheet, which shows how many credits they need in every subject area, what credits they've already taken, what credits they should be taking. It looks like, yeah, Margaret's got one right there. So that's very helpful too, because they could be planning out all 4 years and then, you know, cross off the way.
It turns out you can get copies of this if you ask Ms. Askison.
For Ms. Martin. What is that, Martin? It's a credit worksheet. Ms. Martin has those for me too. And that'll be on the back of upper school students' course requests.
Are there any questions from folks who are online for Ms. Jacobs?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, very.
Yes, thank you very much. And we've run over, well, I guess we started late.
Yep.
So I will just let you know, thank you again for coming. Our next and last meeting of the year will be April 9th. We haven't fine-tuned the timing of that just yet, because we also want to do a little volunteer event. So we need to sort out the details, but we're still planning on the meeting. It'll be either the morning or the evening of April 9th, depending on what we determine with administration.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions, sort of like in general. Number one is about the meetings. I was wondering if we could revert back to what we were doing the last couple of years and alternate every month, because I had to switch with a coworker to be here today.
And I apologize for that, Beth. The only reason we switched from, it was supposed to be a Zoom today. We switched because of the TPD presentation. It was the only date they could get the detective to come present. So that's why we ended up swapping, and otherwise today would have been an evening Zoom. So I apologize.
Okay.
Thank you for
But
doing
that
that.
still is the plan.
But it is the
Okay,
plan, yes.
That's good, because I can never be here. Unless I make somebody work, and please work for me. And then when we were talking about the courses, which it just dinged in my head, is because we're looking at colleges and so forth now. And a lot of colleges are expecting students to have calculus exposure going into college. And there's not, unless you start with algebra in the 8th grade, it's really challenging to get calculus exposure here.
It's challenging. I mean, pre-calculus is that calculus exposure, I'm assuming.
Right, but if you want to take, you know.
So if we start with algebra 1, the track would be algebra 1, geometry, algebra 2, and pre-calculus. If the student wants to get past pre-calculus to AP, a lot of our students choose to take geometry over the summer. It's like our summer course. I mean, it's something the math department talks about every single year.
And we've talked to several people that have done the math course during the summer, and no one recommends it.
Oh, really? Well, that's interesting, because I hear the geometry one through BYU is the.
My son did it, it was great, he hated it, but it was really good.
I've talked to, I've never, the students, you know, Isaac will get information from the student, but I go through the parent, and the parents are about, like they said, he said it's miserable, it's terrible.
No, I
They never do anything else during the summer, they're always having to hound their child to be on it, and.
the only thing the only problem we had is we didn't understand it was too hard.
Yeah, right.
So when we finished the first part, yay, I'm done, and then, no, that was difficult, so it was good.
So, well, I don't mean that the class is not good, I mean that yes. And
Yeah, no, it was a lot of work.
And yeah.
I've heard some students also started a little bit earlier into the spring and get a jump start through like work on it during their free blocks or something during the day so that they can jump start.
Is it all self-paced, like they?
Yeah, and Quinn really prefers having a
Yeah.
teacher to talk to them, they have to do that. But it was good, he doesn't.
And then this is really far in advance, couple of questions about the senior trip being in October. As my kid gets closer to that, I would really not like it to be in October so that the seniors can, if they are interested in doing early admission, they have that full week to prepare applications, get feedback, even visit colleges, and then have like the release and the senior trip in the spring when they kind of feel like they've accomplished everything. I don't know if this was a trial year, but
Actually, something we went back to, we did the senior trip in October for years. And then something happened with someone's schedule that moved it to February. They had bad weather. It's been kind of a nutsy trip in February. The teachers also miss conferences. They miss a work day with their colleagues. So we moved it back to October, but what we did this last year is seniors left early, a day early. And then they came back Wednesday and had all the way through Monday off to do those things, to do work on college, work on, some actually met parents in California and went on college trips in California at that time. So it seemed to work out with this current class of students. The plan is to do that again next year, to leave a day early. Seniors have chosen to go to Disneyland for 2 days instead of Disney and Universal next year. So, I mean, we could
and
definitely.
the seniors have input,
The seniors didn't have input with the timings next year.
but where they're going.
The seniors usually have.
That's good, that's good. And then,
Can I just add, sorry, I'm on Zoom, this is Puneet. I would echo and I'm sorry, I don't know who just made that comment. I would echo that. You know, it does seem just really clunky, and, you know, for those of us, this is the first time and last time I'll ever be able to join this meeting because our computer system's down in clinic. But I mean, for those of us at work, it's really hard to take off multiple bouts of time. So I would echo that if there's some reconsideration for that, to move a senior trip to the spring when they're already done with their applications and whatnot.
Thanks, Puneet.
This is Rebecca Sant. I have a viewpoint too on that, because my daughter is a senior this year, and then I have a junior next year. And I felt the same way you all did until we experienced it. And I'm planning for next year to take Elian's senior, to look at different schools. But we do have like 5 days with Rosh Hashanah and conferences in September. So I'm focusing on that, and maybe she's gonna miss a day or two in there, and that's another way to get almost a weekend of going to see schools too. So we do have 2 breaks this next year, one in September and then the interim in October. So
Rebecca?
Well, that's good to know that you have an additional break. in September.
yeah, the 19th through like the 24th of September, if you look at the calendar.
Okay. Oh, you're in conference.
But last year, when we did it in February, I'm like, oh, it's sort of sad that the seniors don't get to be having fun when the rest of the school is having their entire week. And this year, when you did it at the same time, I mean, I have a sophomore now that we're gonna be there soon. For me, it made it seem like, okay, it's all work, but they can still play. So I don't know, the little balance, it's balance, yeah, it's not all work. And they're getting to this stuff. They're getting to that age where it's just gonna, juniors and seniors. It's like, what school am I going to? What do I need to do to get accepted? So just to have 2 or 3 days in between that application process, I think, for mental health is very important. But I have not experienced it, just.
And then, what I was saying was that I've offered to, volunteer for the grad night party, but it's in the middle of the week and I can't take off work to volunteer for a grad party. So is it ever possible to have it like on a Thursday, Friday, or a Sunday or something like that? I know that somebody told me that there was expenses, like it's cheaper to have it in the middle of the week. And then there's religious religious events that happen that.
The purpose of that overnight grad night party is to keep those students safe after graduation.
Right.
So it's a tradition for all high schools around here to hold, there's a lot of the bigger high schools do a lock-in. And they have this, amazing things happening. We did a lock-in a few years ago, or like 4 or 5 years ago, they did a lock-in. So that's the purpose, is to take those grads right after graduation, stick them on a bus, keep them safe all night long.
Right.
So that they don't go off and do their own.
Yeah.
Partying.
Because literally after graduation, we don't really have any.
Yeah.
Right,
We don't.
I know, but so that's why I'm asking if we can, it's really hard, not only for, if people want to volunteer in the middle of this work week to help out, but also for families to visit in the middle of the week, and it's just really, graduation on a Wednesday is just really, again, a word clunky.
It's hard. The calendar's really tough because some years, when we look at the calendar, graduation backs up right to Memorial Day weekend, we get complaints of, we don't want family traveling then. So it's just how all the days line up every year.
But it's always in the middle of the week.
Not always. I mean, it's been on a Thursday before. I'm trying to remember if we've had a Friday night graduation. It just matters. We try to get so many school days in. And then we look at when AP tests fall and how those end compared to when we need to start finals, because we want to give students time. So it's a complicated process.
Those are my only questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Allycyn. Thank you, Amy. Thank you
all
of
thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. And just watch for our notices in the newsletter and everything else that's great in the newsletter as well. And hopefully we'll see you next. Yes. Thank you, everyone online. We're going to stop recording and we're going to go ahead and end the meeting.